Hello students, how are you? In the previous video, we started talking about sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, let's revise quickly. What did we discussed? We discussed that flower, it is a reproductive part of the plant. Okay, it consists of a stamen and a pistil. What is a stamen? Stamen is a male reproductive part, and pistil, it is a female reproductive part. Whenever both stamen or pistil both are contained on the same flower of a plant, then that flower is said to be bisexual, means both the sexes are present on the same flower. But if either one of them is present, that is either stamen is present or pistil is present, then such kind of flowers are said to be unisexual flowers. Clear? So, two types of flower, that is bisexual and unisexual. Bisexual means both the sexes, that is male and female, both are present on the same flower, and unisexual means only single sex is present. It may be male or it may be female. So, this was about the reproductive part of the flower. Then we discussed about the male part, that is stamen. It consists of a long slender filament and has a anther at the tip. In that it has pollen sacs in which pollen grains are developed, and I told you that pollen grains are the male gametes. Clear? Similarly, in a pistil, it consists of a stigma, style and ovary. What is stigma? A stigma serves as a landing platform for the pollen grains. Style, it is a long tubular structure through which the pollen grain that germinate reach to the ovary or the ovule. Okay. And what is the ovary? Ovary is the main part of the reproductive part of female, which consists of ovule, and inside it there is a female gamete, or we can say egg. Okay. And the pollen grain, they contains the male gamete. Then the second thing that we discussed was about pollination, that because for the fertilization process the male gamete needs to reach the female gamete, and I told you that male gametes are the motile and female gametes are non-motile. So, those male gametes need to be transported to the stigma of the female part. Okay. Now, whenever they reach stigma, the pollen grains germinate over there and forms the gamete, and then that gamete reaches to the female gamete and fuses there, and this process is fertilization. Okay. This process we will be discussing in this video about the fertilization. Then I told you there may be two types of pollination, that is self pollination or the cross pollination. What is self pollination? Whenever the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma is of the same flower, or is on the same flower, or if it is on the different flower but same plant, that is the. And cross pollination is the pollination in which the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of different flower of the different plant, but it needs to be of same species. I told you if the plant will be of different species, yes, then due to some chemical composition the pollen grain will be rejected and there will be no germination of pollen grains, and the fertilization process will not takes place. Okay. In this video we will be discussing about the fertilization process. So, I hope it is clear to all of you what we discussed yesterday in the previous video in the sexual reproduction of part. In this we will be starting with fertilization process. Okay, what is fertilization? See, the fusion between male and female gamete which results in the formation of zygote is called fertilization. Okay. So, what is, if anybody asks you define fertilization, how will you define it? You can define that the fusion of male and female gametes which results in the formation of zygote is called fertilization. So, point is, a zygote is formed as the fusion between male and female gametes occurs. This process of formation of zygote is called fertilization. After some times, what happens, that this zygote develops and turns into an embryo, means then development will occur. So, I told you that whenever the life starts, it starts with a single cell, that is zygote. Even like us in human also, human beings, when the life is starting, the life is started with a single cell, and the first cell it is zygote because of the fusion of male and female gamete. Now, you can see that fertilization process, the pollen grain, it lands on the stigma, you can see. Okay, this one is the stigma part, and what happens when the stigma knows that it is the pollen grain of the same plant, means same species of plant, then it allows the pollen grain to germinate, and by germinating it releases the pollen tube. Okay. Inside the pollen tube there are male gametes. Okay. You can see that black color dot, that is pollen grain germinating, which result into the formation of male gamete. This pollen tube then grows through the style, okay, stigma and then style, and reaches to the egg cell that is inside the ovary. Okay, you can see then it reaches, and there the male gamete and the female gamete, because it is non-motile but male gamete is motile, so it reaches to the female gamete, and there the fusion occurs and the formation of zygote occurs. Clear? So what is fertilization? Again, the fusion of male and female gametes which results into the formation of zygote is known as fertilization. Clear? Next is how fruits and seeds are formed. See, fruits and seeds are formed after the process of fertilization. Okay, after the fertilization process, the ovary of the flowers grows and develops into a fruit. The remaining parts of the flowers fall off, and the ovule develop and form seeds of the fruits. Now you all know that I told you that ovary, inside the ovary is the ovule which contains the female gamete. So now if you try to construct these, then the ovary develops into the fruit, and inside the ovary is ovule, so definitely it develops into the seed, and you all know that seed is covered by the fruit. If for example, if you see in the mango, seed is inside and it is wholly covered by a fruit, so that fruit part, that flesh part that we eat, that is the ovary part, okay, and the seed part, it is the ovule part. So how fruits and seeds are formed? After the fertilization process, the ovary part, the outside part, grows into a fruit, and inside, that is the ovule which contains female gamete, it results in the formation of the seeds. And the remaining part, what are the remaining parts of the flowers that is it is saying that fall off? The remaining parts are like, for example, sepals, petals, etc. These fall off. Clear? So the ovary develops into a fruit and ovules develop into the seed. And inside seed there is a embryo. So the embryo is enclosed inside the seeds. Some fruits are fleshy and juicy, such as mango, apple, orange, and some fruits are hard like almonds and walnuts. Clear? So different types of fruit like mango, apple, orange, they are fleshy. Fleshy means they contains a flesh that is eaten, and some fruits are hard like almonds and walnuts. You can see the formation of fruits and seed. There is a plant, and plant contains flower, that is the reproductive part, and inside reproductive part there are anther and the stigma. So you can see ovary, that is containing the ovule, and after the fertilization or the fusion, you can see it result into the formation, and there is a fruit that contains seed. I told you just now that fruit forms from the ovary and the seed is formed from the ovule. Okay, inside the seed there is a embryo which is responsible for the germination, that after it results, the seed germinates and the seedling pop out from it, and as the seedling gets proper condition, proper nutrients, okay, water, sunlight, etc., then it grows to become a full plant. And then again the same processes of fertilization occur, and this cycle keeps on continuing. So this is the formation of fruits and seeds. Now next topic is, what is seed dispersal? Now as the word dispersal says, the transportation of seeds from parent plant to different places is called seed dispersal. Okay, first of all, what is the definition of seed dispersal? It is the transportation of seeds from the parent plant to different places called seed dispersal. Seed dispersal allows the growth of same kind of plants in different regions. Okay, if the seed are dispersed, for example, with the help of wind, water, insects, animals, etc., then what happens, that seed, if they found a particular favorable condition anywhere, then they can germinate. So this results or allows the growth of same kind of plants in different regions. How it is helpful? It is helpful because it minimizes the competition for food, sunlight, water and minerals among the plants of same kind in the same area. See, if the seed dispersal will not take place, then all the seed will be germinating on the same place. Okay, and because of germinating on the same place, then they will be competing for, like example, water, minerals in the soil for the same. Okay, and then each and every seed or each and every plant cannot get enough of it. Similarly for water also, sunlight also, food also. But if seed dispersal occurs, then the places are changed and the competition also gets reduced. It also allows them to grow in different habitats. It depends on the climate, or you can say the nature of that particular place where the seed has been dispersed. So, I hope dispersal of seed is clear to you. The transportation of seeds from the parent plant to different places is called seed dispersal. Read these points and then we will be moving forward. Next is how the dispersion of seeds occur. That is, what are the various factors that lead to the dispersion of the seed. Okay. So, there may be different types of factors like wind, water, animals, etc., that can help the seed to disperse from one place to another. So, there are different types of fruits or different types of seeds, plants that are through which, or different types of condition in which the seed gets dispersed. Okay. For example, the first kind of factor is wind. Okay. Now, the types of seed that are propagated by the wind. First, the seed need to be light in weight if it has to be propagated through the wind. Then it can be winged. Okay, it contains wing or feather kind of something. Hairy seeds also and hairy fruits. So, these kind of seeds like lightweight, winged and hairy seeds, these are dispersed with the help of wind, because you know wind can carry light objects with it. So, whatever the light objects like winged seeds, lightweight seeds and hairy seeds, that they can be easily dispersed with the help of wind. Next factor is water. Now, seeds with spongy and fibrous coating so that they can float in water. Okay. If some seeds cannot disperse with the help of wind, then they will be dispersing with the help of water, but for that they need to be spongy and fibrous coating so as to float in water. Clear? Next is animals. Some animals also helps in seed dispersal. Some seeds, they may be sticky or spiny seeds like xanthium, they get attached to the bodies of animals. Okay, and then when the animals changes its place or goes to another place, then sometimes that seeds falls off from their body and there they germinate. Clear? So, this is because of the animals. And then the fruit bursts. Sometimes due to fruit burst also the seed dispersion occurs. Clear? So, these are the different factors due to which seed dispersal occurs, that is wind, water, animals and the fruit burst. Okay. Just you need to remember the characteristics of the seeds and one or two example of that. Okay, what are the examples of different types of plants that need different types of conditions for seed dispersal, or different types of methods for seed dispersal. Clear? So, this was the last topic and this concludes the chapter reproduction in parts in plants. I hope it is clear to all of you students. Okay. You have to make the notes of this chapter also. Okay. Stay inside our house, keep studying and take care of yourselves. Thank you and have a nice day.